So guys, Zanderson 977 here today to do Tokyo Ghoul episode 3 review. Now, in this episode of Tokyo Ghoul, it starts off actually with, you know, action right on the get-go. Starts off get-go action. We get this scene of a hospital, like a doctor's office, and we see this guy talking to the doctor, and then his visit with the doctor is over, and so he's leaving. And upon leaving, we see him get cut up and just thrown onto the doctor's table, and then we see this guy, and I can tell you that this guy is Jason, the guy with the mask. In the first episode is pretty much him. It's the same voice, and this Doctor Dool calls him Yamori, and he came to him saying that he has lost that kind of instrument that he got from him, further hinting that he is also in fact Jason and he wants it back. So the doctor said, okay, sure, I'll do what I can with you. And off in the corner we see Hinami and Miss Ryoko, or whatever her name is, but I'm guessing that that woman is her mother. So we see Hinami and her mother off in the corner hiding because they're scared by this dude intruded into their place. And then later on through this episode, we see them actually go towards Mr. Yoshimura at Anteku, that coffee shop that Mr. Yoshimura has. We see them go there for kind of refuge, and Hinami was so startled that even when Kaneki was smiling at her and wanting to greet her, she was too afraid or too shy at the time. So so Kaneki was, his expression was like, whoa, this is weird. But anyway, so that's one part of the episode. The other part of the episode that I want to talk about is how we see Kaneki trying to integrate himself into the ghoul way of life, the ghoul way of living. Ghouls, they try to integrate themselves into humanity as much as possible. They try to eat like humans do. They try to do, study for tests. They go to school. They have part-time jobs like Toka. They are trying to become, this, or put on this mask of being a real, normal, regular human, when at the same time that's not the case. Because as was later stated in this episode, when Kaneki and Toka went to look for Uta to get a mask for Kaneki, because the doves, as they call them, or the CCG guys, are beginning to move in 20th wards. They are beginning to move around. So as a precaution, they want masks so that their faces won't be seen by these guys when they do in fact display their ghoul abilities, I'm guessing. So Uta is there, and then they begin talking about Toka, and Uta says that Toka is hardworking, and because Kaneki was saying how she's scared, he basically tells Kaneki how she, not just Toka, but ghouls in general, they view humans like living textbooks. They try to study them, understand them, so that they can integrate themselves fully into their society, so that they are not suspected or to be suspicious of being a ghoul. So that's a valuable insight into the world of ghouls and humans, and how ghouls interact with the humans apparently. So when Kaneki came to this coffee shop and Teiku, lo and behold, he had no idea that he was actually going to a ghoul infested coffee shop, because as was stated by Mr. Yoshimura, this is a coffee shop where it's a kind of refuge for all ghouls who are out there who are not able to hunt for themselves, or ghouls who are new in the upcoming. It's like a refuge place for ghouls basically. So they have human and ghoul customers, and there's this kind of mix that goes on between them, kind of ironic at the same time that out there in the ghoul world, in the quote unquote real world, ghouls are hunting humans, are eating humans, and you have organizations like CCG that are trying to fend off the ghouls and kind of exterminate and get rid of them from humanity. So out there in the real world, there are fisticuffs. They are opposing each other. But and Tokyo, this one coffee shop is where there's a seamless interaction between them. And mainly because the humans do not know that they're actually interacting with ghouls at the shop. That's what I'm assuming. So that's interesting, and I really love that point very much. And the other point that I want to jump to is the introduction of CCG and those two detective looking guys that we saw last episode, Amon and Mado. They're actually guys are detectives in the CCG, and their whole purpose is to eradicate ghouls from the Tokyo area. And you know, when the scenes came up showing this whole organization, we see them analyzing the ghouls movements and beginning to say that, you know, they're probably on the cups of a war because the ghouls are beginning to organize themselves. And they've also stated that the 20th ward, which is the area in which Kaneki lives, which is the area in which the show is progressing currently. The 20th ward was normally a quiet area, but now, from the events of this, they mentioned three people: Gourmet, the binge eater, and Jason. You know, incidents in the Tokyo ward has begun to change. It's not so quiet as before, so they decided to send out two investigators there. And the investigators, Amon and Mado, they showed them the kind of pincer looking devices, that this kind of pincer looking device that they found at the scene, and they said that it is like a gold medical treatment device or something like that. So they're using that to try to uncover what actually happened, to try to hunt down ghouls, etc. And towards the end of this episode, we see Amon and Mado, right? Even though they're apparently humans, they take down ghouls with ease. Every ghoul we see that attack them, or the regular ghouls that attack them, they get taken out pretty quickly and pretty easily by them. You know, they ask them, do you know what this is? And even though they're afraid, and even though they're answering truthfully, and they really do not know what it is, they just kill them mercilessly. Because, you know, I guess that's their job. So these guys who are humans are merciless as well, just as much as ghouls. Some of the ghouls out there who hunt humans and only view humans as food. So that's also interesting to note. And towards the end of this episode, they cornered two ghouls. They killed one instantly and kind of slashed one and didn't kill him instantly. And they actually did that on purpose. They knew that this guy would wake up, and they were off in the shadows listening in. And when this ghoul was talking with another ghoul, and then, you know, they're saying, oh, you should go to Dr. Fuguchi or something like that. He called this doctor's name. I'm guessing that it's the same doctor guy that was shown at the beginning of the episode. He said that this ghoul should go to that doctor, and then boom, out of the blue, they came in and just kill that ghoul right there. Capiche, just like that, right there. And then they're beginning to say that, oh, you know, it's revealed at that point that it was their plan all along to use this ghoul that they left for dead. Or, you know, it was in their plans for this ghoul to believe that he did survive, when in fact they were listening in for them to get a new lead on where to go. So now I'm guessing that they found out that this doctor guy exists, and next episode they're probably going to pay him a visit. But towards the very end of this episode, we see this dude in with blue hair and in this, you know, good looking suit and tie walking in, and he comes into the Anteku shop. He opens his arms wide and says, what a nice sweet swelling aroma. And then all of a sudden the door behind him just closes instantly. So I'm you know, from the very gesture of his appearance, I'm guessing that this guy means trouble. We don't necessarily know who he is as of yet, but whatever or whoever he is, he apparently means trouble. This extravagant introduction of him is, you know, for a very good reason. So I like to see where that goes as well. But overall, I thought this was a very good episode of Tokyo Ghoul. And oh yes, I almost left out one point. Hinami, that little girl, she's a ghoul, and at the point where Mr. Yoshimura said that Toka had the day off because she was studying for exams, he wanted Kaneki to assist with gathering food. So Kaneki instantly assume that, oh, you want me to kill people, I'm not going to do it. So he said no, that's not necessarily the case. He tells him to go with this guy called Yomo, and Yomo, he doesn't talk at all throughout the whole drive to this cliff that they were going to. He doesn't say a word except when they reach, he says get out. And then, all of a sudden Kaneki is leaning over on this guardrail, and it just all of a sudden gives way, and boom, down he goes. But since he's a ghoul now, and upon his body sensing danger, sensing imminent death, he used those ghouls powers that come out from his back, those kind of thing that look like limbs, to break his fall so that he wouldn't fall and get severely damaged. He fell down, and all of a sudden he saw this dead body off in the side, and we see Yomo jump down and say to pack it up into the bag, and he's like, no, I can't do that. Well, he didn't say it, but he was just shivering and speechless. And then after that scene, when they did come back, Kaneki was supposed to give Hanami, or he bars in on Hanami eating basically. And it looks kind of weird to see such this innocent face looking girl indulging in blood all over her and all that, and her eyes are just pure red, and she was wiping her face, so the other waiter guy who was beside Kaneki was telling Kaneki that, hey, you need to apologize for that, because girls especially, they don't like when they are caught eating, cool girls in this case. So Kaneki brings tea, and he goes over there trying to be friendly with her. One thing leads to the next. They actually kick it off pretty well, and Kaneki realizes that she's reading one of the books of the author that he likes very much. I forgot the author's name, but the book that was shown in the first episode named Leg of a Black Goat or something like that. That's the same author for this book that she's reading. And once he notices that, then he begins talking with her, and she didn't know some of the kanji words, I'm assuming, so she was asking him what they meant, and he was explaining it to her, and she was so happy because she said that she didn't go to school, so that's how she learns by reading these books. And Toka was there, listening in, she was smiling, and apparently Kaneki and Hanami are getting along, and Kaneki is helping this girl to feel better. She's glad for that fact. And then we see her walk off, in the shadows, but she was smiling, and Kaneki and this girl Hanami really hit it off. So at the very end of the episode, even when Hanami and her supposedly mother returned, Hanami said, how are you, big brother, welcome back, so she's feeling a lot better. Hanami, she's no longer startled and afraid and nervous as she once was, and she's now on good terms with Kaneki. They are friends now. So overall, I thought that this episode of Tokyo Ghoul was a good episode. I liked it very much. It's I like the whole detail of how Kaneki is trying to integrate into the ghoul society piece by piece. We get to see an idea of what it's like to be a ghoul, and how ghouls and humans interact. And the plain obvious thing is that the humans, they are not just accepting the ghouls as just a calamity that they have to deal with. They have formed organizations, at least one, which is the CCG, to fight off these ghouls and get them out of the Tokyo area. So I like the whole revelation of everything, how the story is all forming out and how it's playing out. I liked it very much. So as I said, it was a good chapter of Tokyo Ghoul. Loved it very much. So that's it. That's my review. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Sayonara.